Hey, before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel dives deep into the lost secrets, forgotten inventions, and forbidden tactics that defined World War II. Your support keeps history alive and unfiltered, so let's get started. It sounds like science fiction, but it wasn't. Back in 1945, German scientists under Hermann Oberth designed the Sonnengewehr, or sun gun, a massive concave mirror meant to orbit Earth and focus sunlight to incinerate targets below. The idea was to melt cities or burn enemy fleets thousands of miles away. It would have required a space station, years before rockets could even reach orbit, but, yeah, documents show the Nazis planned it seriously. After the war, United States intelligence recovered these blueprints under Operation Paperclip. The concept is still restricted under modern space weapons treaties, making it, honestly, one of World War II's strangest forbidden technologies. Captured by the Soviets in Manchuria, this bizarre spherical tank remains, well, one of World War II's enduring mysteries. It was a small metal ball with a single operator inside, moving on two circular tracks. Its exact purpose is still classified. Some say it was a reconnaissance vehicle, while others believe it was used for laying communication wires under fire. What's clear is that it offered near-total mobility and armor protection in a surprisingly compact form. So, its design has actually inspired dozens of modern rolling drone prototypes. But, yeah, no military is legally allowed to deploy manned versions these days because of modern Geneva restrictions on crew safety. Long before missiles ever crossed oceans, Japan actually launched over 9,000 hydrogen balloons carrying explosives, hoping that wind currents would deliver them all the way to North America. And, well, they did. Some even reached as far as Oregon, tragically killing 6 civilians in 1945. So, these Fugo balloon bombs, they used atmospheric jet streams, which was something barely understood at the time. The concept was later banned under international agreements that prevent unguided airborne weapons. And, ironically, the basic principle of windborne delivery would later inspire modern high-altitude surveillance balloons. Hidden deep in northern France, Germany's V3 cannon could fire a 300-pound shell over 100 miles using a series of sequential explosive charges along its barrel. Quite an engineering feat, really. It was meant to shell London from the coast of France, but Allied bombers destroyed it before it was fully operational. Just imagine the impact if it had been completed. The gun's design was so advanced it inspired later space gun projects in the 1960s, like Canadian scientist Gerald Bull's Project Babylon, which was also banned under United Nations treaties. The idea of a gun that could shoot objects into orbit remains prohibited under modern anti-space weapon laws. Yes, you heard that right, ice. During World War II, Allied engineers tested an enormous aircraft carrier made entirely from pykrete, a mixture of ice and sawdust. It was nearly bulletproof and could stay frozen for months, even in warm water. The idea was to create a floating base in the North Atlantic to defend convoys against U-boats. So, the project was scrapped mainly because of logistics and cost, but its concept, using biocomposite materials for stealth, floating fortresses, still remains restricted under environmental and maritime warfare conventions. By 1944, German infantry units were experimenting with the Zielgerät 1229, which they nicknamed the Vampire. It was actually the world's first infrared night vision weapon, and it was mounted on the Sturmgewehr 44 rifle. Each soldier carried a battery pack and an infrared scope, which honestly allowed them to see in total darkness. Allied troops didn't believe it existed, until captured units were found late in the war. The Allies immediately classified similar tech, and today, active infrared weapon scopes remain tightly controlled for military use only, due to their sniper advantages. Decades before modern drones, Germany developed the Stunt Kfz-302 Goliath, a small remote-controlled demolition vehicle packed with 100 kilograms of explosives. These tracked bombs were guided by a joystick and a long wire, designed to crawl under enemy tanks or fortifications and detonate. While primitive, they were the blueprint for every modern remote demolition drone. Because of their use against human targets, post-war treaties banned similar man-controlled explosives, paving the way for today's unmanned systems with strict oversight. Perhaps the most horrifying secret weapons of World War II were nerve agents, Tauben, Sarin, and later Soman, developed by German chemist Gerhard Schroeder. These odorless, invisible killers attacked the human nervous system, causing paralysis within seconds. Although Nazi Germany produced tons of the stuff, it was never used in battle, likely because they feared Allied retaliation in kind. After the war, both the United States and Soviet Union seized the formulas, but the Chemical Weapons Convention now completely forbids their production or use. Even storing them is illegal under international law. While Allied forces were still flying propeller planes, Germany had already introduced the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, and the Me-163 Komet, a rocket-powered interceptor. These aircraft could outrun anything the Allies had, but engine reliability, fuel shortages, and Hitler's obsession with turning them into bombers crippled their impact. After the war, both the United States and the Soviet Union seized this technology, which directly shaped the Cold War jet age. Early rocket interceptors were later banned under international aviation treaties because of their instability and danger to pilots, making them another piece of World War II tech that just can't legally return. What's most fascinating about these inventions isn't just their danger, it's how close they came to changing the course of history. Each one represents a moment when human innovation collided with moral boundaries. From death rays to nerve gas, from space guns to one-man tanks, World War II's most radical technologies showed that genius and horror can exist in the same design. The truth is, many of these inventions didn't vanish, they evolved, hidden under modern names, research projects, and experimental patents. But for now, most remain forbidden, locked away under the weight of what they almost unleashed. If you enjoy uncovering the secret technologies, weapons, and survival methods of World War II, subscribe for more weekly breakdowns of the inventions that shaped history, but were just too dangerous to survive it. Leave a comment below. Which of these 9 do you think would have changed the world the most if it hadn't been banned?